For those who don't know, Jordan Peele was part of the sketch comedy act Key and Peele, along with Keegan Michael Key. Not who's Scott? Is that a thing? Scott Key? I don't know.
Scott Key wrote the national anthem, right?
Holy Francis Scott Key.
Francis Scott Key.
Woo! Good pool. There we go. Yo, my brain did some weird shit. We in.
Yo.
We in. And Chris is excited because we are talking about Jordan Peele's newest film, Us.
I can always tell it's going to be a good episode when, like, right when we get out of the movie theater, I'm like, fuck, we can't talk about this.
Yeah, we have to, like, hold back.
Did you get a little bit of that? Like,
yeah. I was like, don't say anything. Don't think it. Just let it stew.
Yeah.
So we saw Us last night in a well-behaved movie theater, which sometimes we have complaints about movie theaters, I guess, but it's a very solid crowd. Nothing obnoxious happened. People reacted when they should.
I never really thought
laughed
about
at
it.
appropriate times.
I never really thought about it.
Exactly.
Which is like
that's how you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like a referee. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like if you don't really think about them, you don't notice them throughout the game or the fight or whatever.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Jordan Peele was part of the sketch comedy act Key and Peele, along with Keegan Michael Key. Not who's Scott? Is that a thing? Scott Key? I don't know.
Scott Key wrote the national anthem, right?
Holy Francis Scott Key.
Francis Scott Key.
Woo! Good pool. There we go. Yo, my brain did some weird shit there. It's Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele were Key and Peele. And he's become known as, because of the success of Get Out, a sort of social commentary suspense thriller filmmaker. He writes and directs his own films. This movie is starring Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Elizabeth Moss. The kids' names are Shahadi Wright Joseph and Evan Alex. Also in the flashback sequences, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II and Anna Diop, and the girl Madison Curry, who it said introducing in the credits. Did you catch that in the beginning of the movie? When they say all the actors' names in the beginning of the movie, it said all those actors, and then said, and introducing Madison Curry. And I almost leaned over to you and go, yo, Steph's daughter got a gig, but I didn't want to, like, ruin the mood. I thought it'd be a little bit weird because, it's a serious movie.
No, I was too busy during the credits looking at those rabbits and shit.
Dude, I was already, the rabbit shot, I was like trying to decipher what it meant. I was like, all right, what's going on? I was like, do these brown rabbits mean something about black people and the white rabbits are what? That's exact. Well, and like going into it, I expected it to be a social commentary on race again, which I don't think it was.
Okay.
But we'll get into all that.
All right.
But I expected it because of Get Out and because of Jordan Peele's own words and ideas of saying how when he goes out to make films, he wants to make social commentary films through the lens of horror and suspense and thriller, which is, that's his niche now, and he's very good at it.
Yeah.
Oh, also he's making the new Twilight Zone. He's producing and hosting the new Twilight Zone,
which is like the most obvious thing that you could see him doing. Right?
Get Out is one super long Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
This is kind of too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Twilight Zone much better than me. You love Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of knowledge about it, but
like anybody that thinks that like Twilight Zone is like just sci-fi and like there isn't like a whole bunch of horror too, like there is definitely that, and like the main thing is just like the provocation of thought throughout Twilight Zone.
All right,
so it doesn't always have to be political.
Let's talk Us, baby. Let's talk about you. No, let's not do that. We're going to talk about the movie Us. What you got some notes there? Do you want to get us kicked off?
Okay, let's talk about what Us, like the story of Us first, to bring in people that are just watching the spoiler episode.
Us
maybe want
is about a girl named Adelaide, played by Lupita Nyong'o, and in 1986, Madison Curry, who when she is a kid runs off at the Santa Cruz boardwalk and sees a clone of herself and gets scared. And later in life, we follow her as her family. Now she's married to Winston Duke. They have kids. They come back to Santa Cruz. They're on vacation. And the clone family comes back to get her and her family. And they're the exact same as her family. It's very scary.
And this clone family, they're like wearing red and carrying
red
around
jumpsuits with old scissors and glove. They have a glove.
Yeah, but instantly start attacking this family, right? Like trying to invade their home.
Yes.
And the entire story is them trying to get away. And then you find out that,
it's happening to everybody.
It's happening to everyone. Everyone has clones out there of themselves. And these clones are murdering the original people. How should we just go like right into the end, the absolute spoiler?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. All right.
Save it.
Okay. So I saw an interview with Jordan Peele about how he was talking about like this movie is best if you internalize it. That it's like if you make it personal to yourself, that it's at its most effective when you do that. That it's mostly about the duality of mankind, and I think that's like the biggest thing to take away before you watch this movie, after you watch this movie, and the best way to interpret it probably is that you. It's sort of a reflection of yourself. It's a mirror to yourself. And the way that you interpret it is up to you. I think it's open to interpretation. But the crazy thing is like how many different ways people are taking it.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Have you seen a lot of the attempted explanations and stuff like that? It's really fascinating.
Which kind of ties into things we've talked about on the show recently about like what does it mean once you release it to the world? Does it mean something different to everybody? You know.
And while I was watching it, the entire time I was like, okay, like, is this about race? Like, we were just talking about the rabbit shot. You know, there's after the first like flashback, right? While we're watching the opening credits, there is a slow pan out of just rabbits and rabbit cages. There's an entire wall filled with rabbit cages, and it starts off like all you're seeing
There's
is
only like 4 or 6 cages or something, and they're all white.
But they're all white, and then you see like one brown rabbit. So you kind of it leads you to believe that's what it is. But I don't think it has anything to do with it. No, like, but that's just where your mind takes it, you know.
Well, because we have a predetermined idea of the kind of movie Jordan Peele's going to make. Yeah. And I think he plays with that a little bit, just with that shot. He knows what you're expecting.
Yeah, definitely. Like I just read a really interesting Vulture article on how this woman, Emmy Scott, believes that
she's
the entirety of
she's
Us...
the writer of the article, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
She believes that Us has a bunch of like native... Oh, Jesus.
Rude.
Bruh, I thought I put it on fucking Do Not Disturb and fucking... Shit just keeps coming through. Anyways, so she believes that like Native American imagery was like the most predominant theme throughout the movie.
I mean, I caught the super racist fair thing.
So, we didn't talk about so Adelaide. Addie. She goes into a house of mirrors, and that's where she sees this clone. That's where like. And in 1984, 86?
86.
In 1986, this House of Mirrors was Native American.
It said like the shamans something.
Yeah, exactly.
It was super racist.
It was like a Vision Quest kind of
it's
thing.
Literally said Vision Quest, I think. Yeah.
And then later on in present day.
It's the wizards.
Yeah. So she talks about...
And it's funny because it's the exact same inside, which is so silly.
She talks about that's the first thing that she brings up is the shaman Vision Quest thing and how it's repurposed to it's basically given like it's supposed to represent colonialism, right? Like the this white thing taking over the Native American thing, right?
Okay. I just took it as a sign of like they unracisted it,
right?
It was more
interesting.
It was more culturally appropriate in the modern day.
I'm getting like fucking a bunch of texts right now because the dude that one of the projects I work on is fucking there's like a group text that he sends to like fucking 20 people.
They're blowing it up.
So it's distracting me. Anyways, like there's a lot of themes like whistling. Apparently, like in Native American culture, if you whistle at night, it is like a symbol of like death or something like that. Is supposed to it's bad luck to whistle at night. Basically, that owls are supposed to represent death in Native American culture. And that's like the first thing that
you see. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just.
I didn't.
But the first. But
Yeah, I obviously didn't catch any.
Or-
Like
obviously,
nothing
we
made
don't
me
know.
think of that. Yeah, we don't know enough about it.
But like the fact that Addie's reflection, her doppelganger, is
Red.
named Red,
Mm-hmm.
is important in that, as well as like the one sort of like piece of information that that she says in the beginning of the movie when Addie is asking Red, like, who are you people?
She says we're Americans.
She says we are Americans.
Yeah, it's just super creepy.
Yeah.
We're Americans.
When you heard that, did you think that it was like too on the nose?
The we're Americans thing?
Yeah.
No, because I don't know which nose he was aiming for in the moment.
Yeah. That's just what I've read from critics. A lot of people say that it's too on the nose.
No, I didn't
that
think
line.
so.
Like I can see where but it didn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
It if anything, it like just made me try to think about
what
what
it
the
meant.
fuck he was
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
about.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Like,
Like, is that something that someone should say in that moment? Maybe not. But it's definitely something that Jordan Peele was saying in that moment. So, what did you think that this was?
what do I think it was? I don't think that he had a specific thing in mind.
Okay.
I think that he set a lot of foundation for you to take it a lot of different ways, to leave it open to interpretation. But I think ultimately it's about the parts of yourself, and like you said, the duality of mankind and the duality of the self, and how you can isolate yourself, at least parts of yourself, and how easy it is to have this fear of the other and the ultimate recognition that the other is you, and that that's what I would say. What do you think it was?
I kind of like the idea that it's about poverty.
Okay.
The others are poor people.
Right.
And it sort of shows like how normal people are more upper and middle class. And there's like ideas that like even it goes even further where like Addie's family is middle class and then the white family is like the upper class, and that's why they get defeated so easily. Right. And because the middle class people still know how to fight for what they need, and like there's a lot of different ideas you can go into it there. But there's
a lot of envy from
Winston Duke.
Did you feel like Winston Duke was just doing a Jordan Peele impression the entire movie?
I didn't think about that.
I
but
was
that's
thinking
pretty
that
funny.
the entire like with
funny.
the glasses and he kind of like and obviously
I thought he was great.
I
love
absolutely
Winston
agree.
Duke.
Absolutely agree. Fucking.
I think
enjoyed him through
everyone
a lot
in
of
this movie is really good. Like Lupita's incredible. Lupita's nuts. Like going off the rails, good.
Yeah.
But everybody's great. Elizabeth Moss has like that one moment where her double can't make noise, and she's like, but she's screaming and then like laughing. That was fucking. Ooh.
Yeah. She's what's her show that she's in? The fucking.
She was in Mad Men.
No, what's the one with the bonnets? The fucking bonnets. Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaiden's Tale. Yes.
Is it Handmaiden's Tale?
Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid Tales.
So okay, did it bother you at all in the scene in the house when Addie got kidnapped by the white family, the doppelgangers,
Elizabeth
of the white
Moss's
family?
double?
Yeah, and she's fucking chained up to the bed or whatever, and Elizabeth Moss's double like doesn't kill her. Did that bother you at all?
Dude, I might be. I didn't see anything. I don't think that they could kill anyone but their own double. I think that was a thing.
Okay.
I don't think they could kill anyone but their own double, and I might be completely wrong about that. But that's the vibe I got from early on. I thought they could only kill their own tether because that's what they called them, tethers. That's why I don't think the daughter's double. I don't think she killed that random dude. She just fucking she like hamstrung him, and then they didn't show that he was dead.
Okay.
They didn't show.
She just maimed him.
She maimed him, so he would leave her alone basically and let her chase her tether.
I'm trying to think of any other examples.
No one that we know of kills anyone that's not their double. They attack them like the twin girls attack
Addie and the kids.
The kids, and then later Addie. But she's like wrestling her and trying to like bite her. She's not like murdering her.
Huh.
I think that she was holding her. I think that Elizabeth Moss's double was holding Addie for when Red showed up. to kill her. That's just what I got. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no, it didn't bother me because the whole time that's what I thought was happening.
See, I thought of a couple different things, but this was one thing that like, all right, so I'll go through the three things, right? So, all right. So, one, if it wasn't for her, then the uprising wouldn't exist.
Certainly.
Right. So
it's
like it wasn't for Addie.
Getting into the later spoiler, it's obviously.
Yeah. Two, somehow she knew that Addie was actually tethered. So that brings up to the spoiler.
Yeah.
Right. So
she could like smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's what I've seen that theory.
So as a kid, they actually switched. That's the main.
Yeah. That's the main spoiler. Addie was switched with Red when she went into the mirror maze as a child. Red like knocked her out, dragged her down into this abandoned laboratory place, left her there, and took her life from her, basically. Right. So later on, the Red that we meet is actually the real Adelaide, who is trying to take her life back, essentially. But she's been like completely fucked up and corrupted from this horrible life she's had to lead for the last like 30-something years. And became like a weird messiah to the tethered people.
Well, okay, so all right, I'll finish this out and then I'll go to that. So that was the second thing. Somehow, like she knew that Addie was actually the tethered. She wasn't the original. And three, which was the one that I immediately thought of in the theater, was she was going to take her face.
Oh, okay.
So,
because she started like cutting her own face.
Well, and that,
but I thought that was just a reference to her talking about getting plastic surgery because they have to do the things that their tethered did.
So the through line of that character is that she gets plastic surgery, right? She's very much vain. About vanity, yeah. And like there's a scene where she's like putting on lipstick and looking at a mirror and like admiring herself. The double
and does,
shit.
yes.
Yeah, the double, exactly. And the double, even after her double is dead, right? Like there's no tether anymore because that her double.
That's the other thing. Like, did they ever fully explain what happens when they kill?
They don't fully explain a lot of.
There's
things
a lot of stuff they just. I don't think it actually does anything.
What?
Killing your tether. I don't think it actually does anything.
Yeah, but like if your tether isn't making any more movement,
you have your own free will.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's true.
This Elizabeth Moss doppelganger, right, is all about vanity. She's putting on the lipstick and everything, right? When she has Addie fucking chained up on the bed, and she brings the scissors to her face, it's like literally right here.
Yeah.
Right? Like literally right
Like
here.
she's going to take her face.
And then she goes to the mirror. The doppelganger goes to the mirror and then starts cutting herself in the exact same space.
Okay.
I think that she was going to take Addie's face.
Maybe.
That was at least that's what I was thinking, and I was like, is she gonna fucking peel her face off?
Like the
because
Joker
she believes that fucking
52?
Addie's prettier.
It's wild.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, in her defense, Lupita Nyong'o did win the most beautiful woman in the world thing a couple years ago. So I mean, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that like they would show that.
That'd be fucking nasty, dude.
I fucking really wanted that.
You want to see a New 52 Joker movie?
Huh?
In the New 52, the Joker has his own. He wears his own face.
What?
Like he peeled off his own face and wears it like a mask.
Okay,
it's gross. Yeah,
that's fine. So we can go into this, right? Lupita's voice that she chose.
Well, she hasn't used it in 30 years.
So she hasn't used it in 30 years, but obviously she's the only one that can speak.
Yeah. That's
the easiest.
So there are several hints in hindsight.
Yeah.
That the Addie that we are following is not the real Addie. There's lots of hints, small little things. When she's a child, she's lining all of her toys up in a straight line like they do underneath. There's blue and red imagery used a lot, like when the frisbee falls on the towel and it perfectly covers the blue circle with a red frisbee,
right,
mirroring the outfits that the characters wear throughout the film. Her own white outfit throughout the film gets more and more red. As the movie goes on. There's the spider scene. There's the spider crawling. Yeah. There's a ton of like visual imagery that sort of, if you knew what to look for, would give away the twist.
Yeah.
But you don't even know to look out for it until the twist happens.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the easiest way for, that character to become a messiah, though, is, that she still has this language from when she grew up, and she's the only one that can speak.
Yeah.
And
it's a little. This movie, I feel like, is kind of like A Quiet Place, which I fucking love A Quiet Place. We've talked about it, but where it has this thing where if you dig a little bit too deep into the fiction of the world, it starts falling apart a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you start thinking about A Quiet Place and you're like, if no one could make any fucking noise, no one would survive for long. Like, you know what I mean? In this, it's like, hey, what happens if somebody's double like flies across the country? Does the person under the tunnel just run across tunnels across the country? Like, what happens? Like, some of it's so weird. And some stuff, like, they show the roller coaster ride. They're not actually moving. They're just doing... Yeah. That scene is like... Well, this is like a Jordan Peele thing in general. Jordan Peele is a master at balancing horror and humor at the same time. Mm-hmm. He's a master at it. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. And that scene in particular... Oh, my God. Shut up, Siri. That scene in particular was, like, showing that for sure. Like, when they're showing... the flashback of where Addie was walking and what Red was seeing as young Addie walked down and they met the first time. Right. Like there's flashing between the stuff on the boardwalk and what she saw in the tunnels. And like, an innocent scene where a boyfriend is feeding his girlfriend some food at a carnival. They're just giving each other raw rabbit. It's disgusting. Mm-hmm. And then like people are reenacting what the roller coaster is doing. And that's silly. Like it's weird. Ridiculous. And then, like, the guy with the Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 11 thing, the sign, he has it engraved on his head. Mm-hmm. It's just, like, this weird balance of things that are funny and horrible.
Also, I want to bring this up. So, we're actually releasing this on 0404.
Oh, cool.
I thought that was kind of cool. Symmetry.
A little bit of, I mean, should we save it for November 11th?
Nah.
Barrel it for a long time.
That's so long. I had something that I was going to say before that.
What were we talking about? We were talking about something made me think of Jordan Peele's balancing act of humor and horror. And we were talking about Addie. What was the last thing on your notes that you talked about? I don't remember.
I don't really have
it. It was a tangent.
Huh?
It was a tangent we were on.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about the imagery.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, we were talking about Lupita's voice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Lupita's voice. So apparently Lupita like got with like an ear, nose, and throat doctor and like was actually mimicking like a condition. I forgot what the condition was.
Of someone who...
Of someone who has like fucked up vocal cords.
Okay. It's very creepy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super creepy. And it makes a lot of sense for the story.
Yeah. What... Okay, I'll ask you this. I say as I ask you. That's such a stupid thing to say. Anyway. Did you think there was like over exposition in that right before the final confrontation? Did you think that there was like too much of a let's explain what's been going on thing happening when Red basically monologues her life to reveal the twist?
I mean, did that even reveal the twist at that moment?
No, that's true. The twist was revealed after the fight. The actual twist was revealed after the fight because that's when who we think is Adelaide kills Red and she does the laugh and you're like, oh fuck, she's oh god.
And the kid is looking at his mom or what he thought was his mom throughout his entire life.
He can tell, yeah. He can definitely.
And that's also like there's a lot of really good setups and payoffs in this movie that my screenwriting teacher would really appreciate.
Yeah.
Just like from like little details down to like the fire truck or whatever that the kid would put.
The ambulance.
The ambulance that he put in the door.
That reminded me of
literally
the nail in A Quiet Place. That's exactly what I thought about.
All 3 or 4 of those action sequences like were set up with something prior, which I really enjoyed. And, and they were set up. in different ways.
So did you ever think about the idea? You know how the kid's always playing with his magic trick.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about how that might be why his tether is a burned face because he was doing the same thing but it was working?
Oh wow.
Yeah. So every time he was clicking that thing, he was burning his own face.
Oh shit! I didn't think about that. That's fucking tragic.
I loved the scene. So I loved that we got to this point where it was like let's face down everyone's doppelganger in a series of events here. So like Winston Duke has the hilarious boat sequence. It's fucking funny. That shit is funny.
It's also tense though.
Yeah, it's super tense, but it's fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like he's such a doofus. It's great. Where he kills his own doppelganger in a boat engine.
I'm telling you, dude.
By banging his head on the fucking motor.
If you do watch this again, watch it like thinking that Jordan Peele is the main guy.
That's pretty good.
That's how I thought about it.
Yeah. And then like we have the one with the daughter's doppelganger where she runs over with the car, and then Lupita has that moment where she like doesn't kill her, but she like knows she's dying, and she sort of like comforts her as she dies, and that was like a cool, interesting moment. And then the one with the son, though, I fucking loved where he caught it. He was like, "It's a trap.
Yeah,
I know what's happening." And then he fucking knows the kid will mirror everything he does, and he walks backwards, so the kid walks into the fire. That was brutal.
He was also like set up as like the most curious kid throughout the entire thing.
Yep.
Like he was the one that was like asking the question, like, what does 5 on it mean? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
he's asking lots of questions throughout the movie. And then like that whole scene, then like Red is there, and that was like, that might have been the scariest part to me. When Red popped up, she was like blending into that car, and then she took Jason, and I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. Spooky.
Poverty. I like that.
But I think you're right. I do think that there's
a lot of different ways that you could take it.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely do agree that the duality is a big one. Like that's kind of the really obvious one.
Well, and it's one that I think like encompasses all of the other themes as well. You know what I mean? Like just because like there's Native American imagery doesn't mean that like it excludes the duality of mankind.
Yeah.
You know, like the fact that
they can all be true.
Well, like just the idea of colonialism and, you know, taking over like an original tribe or whatever, you know, like the idea of, you know, people invading your home or whatever.
You know what?
Like they in a sense they are you.
You know what I loved another one in hindsight. So we see the Jeremiah 11:11 guy in the flashback. He's young. When the family in the present day drives into Santa Cruz, they see that guy and he's dead.
Yeah.
And he's holding the sign still on the stretcher. And Lupita Nyong'o, who is actually Red, is like, oh shit. And I think that's when she realized what's happening. Later on the beach, we don't really notice it because they don't show his face. But that guy that Jason sees standing there with the bloody hand is that dude's doppelganger starting the chain. He's the first link. And I like in hindsight, I was like, oh, that's so scary. That dude just stood there while everyone got murdered. Yeah. And then people just started joining hands with him.
And he was the one that killed his fucking doppelganger and then joined the chain.
Spooky.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, I don't know if you got out of... Have we ever talked about, like, the 3 layers of horror before? I don't know if it's a real thing. I don't know if it's a thing that, like, I've made up or what. I don't know if it's a real thing. Okay, so there's, like, 3 layers of horror. There's, like, the first, like, most superficial layer that's like
jump scares,
right? And a lot of people like
they're cheap.
It's a lot of people demonize jump scares, but I think
they're useful. They're useful, but they're low hanging fruit.
Yeah, exactly. 2 is like the more like creepiness that you feel throughout the movie. Like Babadook is a really good example of this, and a lot of people like credit that second layer to really good movies. You know,
well that seems like it comes a lot from directing, and editing.
Well, but like just good filmmaking, you know, and the intention of having more than jump scares, right? And then the third one, which is like the most rare, which like only like the best horror movies will have, is like a movie that will fuck you up years after you see it, and especially in like specific situations, like so. Jaws is like a lot of people don't think of it as a horror movie, but it's absolutely a horror movie. But like
that's my worst nightmare. What are you talking about?
Well, exactly. But it's something that will literally like fuck you up anytime that you're out in the ocean. You'll think about a great white shark, like anytime fucking I forgot who said this. I read an article about Jaws once, and like they said that they went to the bathroom and they like thought that a shark was gonna get them. You know, like they're like that's how scared they were. But once I got out of Us, like I was like, I don't know, like I got this like weird like paranoia. I don't know if you got that.
Were you like looking for yourself?
Like it was just like I don't know. I was just like kind of creeped out. Like a lot of I don't know. Like I didn't want to be around people.
Yeah. And we had to walk all the way home.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you like Us or Get Out more?
I think that they're really different. I think that
I think they're both very good, first of all.
yeah.
I think they're both very good.
I agree. I don't know. I think it's one of those things like even deciding right now, like it might change.
I think I like Get Out more.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less of a traditional horror movie, and I don't really like horror movies that much. I really like Us. I think that it utilizes the tropes of horror very well.
Right.
And I think another thing Jordan Peele does, which he's talked about, is like he doesn't want to have characters that when you examine their actions that they're being stupid. You know, he doesn't want the character.
There was one moment
when she goes into the woods by herself.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It turned out okay because the girl was, basically dying in a tree.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is it. This is the moment where if she gets got, I'm not mad about it.
Also, the twist ultimately explains her actions there, though, because like she's not afraid of the other. She grew up with them.
Yeah.
So like she's a little bit more like I'm gonna kill these motherfuckers.
Oh
and
yeah,
she's starts taking advantage.
That's sort of the leans
situation.
into the poverty thing. Is like when somebody from the lower class gets what they gets it, and then they'll do anything to keep it. Right. Yeah. That kind of leads into that a little bit too.
And if they somehow like reach that level of socioeconomic status, that they start fending off what they used to be. I never thought about that. That's interesting.
But yeah, I think that I liked like I said, I like them both a lot, but I think that I like that Get Out is a little bit more untraditional of a horror movie. It's more of they're both like suspense thrillers, but the weird mental aspects of Get Out I really like, and I feel like it's a little bit more like surrealist, kind of like with the weird swanky rich person parties and Lakeith Stanfield killing it.
Okay.
Like there's just things I really, really love about Get Out. Like a lot.
Is that really surreal?
I don't know if surreal is the right word, but you know what I mean. It's like
yeah, I'm not sure what. Like it's just not normal.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Not that having
like paranormal.
Not that having doubled, doppelgangers that are clones of you that live your life in tunnels underneath America is normal, but it's it's kind of explained and we get it.
Yeah. Should wrap this thing up.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts or anything, or just I
Good
would
movie.
say
Go see it if you
definitely
haven't.
recommend. We always try to say whether or not. I would say that
It's something that I'm
definitely
gonna-
go see it. I would say see it in a movie theater too if you can.
Yeah.
I think that it's a kind of movie that is lifted up by the theater experience.
And I'm probably gonna watch it again for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Come back next week. We're gonna do spoilers. Okay, so here's the thing. I've been triggered recently, and I texted you immediately after it happened because fucking Zack Snyder, bless his heart. Dude, there was a time period like where I didn't want to say mean things about Zack Snyder because the thing all happened with his kid and stuff, and I felt bad. But it's been some time since then,
right? And
he keeps being a fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
So we're going in next week. We're gonna watch Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
You've never seen it, right?
I've seen Batman.
Oh, you have.
Yeah.
We're gonna rewatch it, and I'm gonna go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go completely apeshit on next week's spoiler episode.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna go in, and we're gonna talk about this nonsense that he's talking about. Oh my god, I'm getting angry just thinking about it. Anyway, this has been the Us episode, Chris and Kyle Show. Find him, chrismichaelstott.com, on his website to check out his scripts. Chris Michael Stott on Instagram. Find me, Davinwell25, Twitter and Instagram. Find the show, The Chris and Kyle Show, on YouTube, on all podcasting platforms, on Instagram, on Facebook. tcaks Pod on Twitter. No poll this month. It looks like your brother's going to win, who I hope you guys, when this releases, it will have been out.
He says that it's already locked up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I should trust
the way
that.
points work.
I'd
I'd have to look. I don't know.
He might be trying
to trick us. But yeah, it looks like Keith, who you guys just met in this week's guest episode, is going to win the tournament bracket. So he is choosing our last episode of the month, and he wants us to do blue chips. Which is, I don't know what it is, but apparently it's relevant to modern sports culture, which is kind of interesting. And so that'll be later in the month. But next week will be Batman vs. Superman, and we will be back Monday with our regular episode. Kind of like a week and a half of stuff to talk about, too, when we get to there.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be cool. yeah, we'll see you guys next week. It's been real. We out.
We out. Stay weird.